What's up, everybody? So I'm going back to my original style content a little bit with this video. If you guys are OGs of the channel, you guys would know I'd made videos like this all the time. But yeah, I want to talk about this conspiracy a little bit because it's been gaining a bit of traction. And that is just that, what if Colby Covington switched weight classes now? I know Colby has kind of came out and debunked it a little bit and said like, hey man, I'm not a big welterweight and I'm not a small welterweight. I'm actually a pretty good size welterweight. And I could agree with him on that. He is. But the facts are the facts, and I don't care really, especially with this video, what you guys think of the second fight with him and Kamaru. Colby Covington is now down 0-2 to the champ. Now, regardless of what you guys think and regardless of whatever is going on, it's in the official record books. Colby Covington has officially lost those two fights. So that leads me to think, will the UFC really be eager to book these guys for a third time, considering that Colby really doesn't have that big of a claim to it? I mean, yeah, sure, you put on two epic and two very competitive fights with the champ, but you still lost to them. And each time this fight happens and you keep losing, the fan appeal grows less and less, and that is that I don't think that a lot of people are going to care too much about a Kamaru Usman Colby Covington trilogy fight, considering Colby hasn't won one of the two fights they already had. There's an argument to be made about the second fight, but in my opinion he just lost. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. So let me go ahead and talk about the 185-pound division, because this one's going to be a breezy one. If I'm Colby Covington, I am not going to the 185-pound division, because I'm looking at these guys and I'm looking at this rankings right now, and these guys are not natural 185ers. I mean, sure, yeah, they can make the limit. What I mean is that these guys are a lot bigger than Colby thinks. They're not just naturally walking around 185 pounds like Colby actually is. That's not the case. Colby's lean. These guys are lean enough to make 185, meaning that they probably walk around near the sub 195 to 200 zone. Colby can't get that big. Now, even if Colby somehow beats Usman in a trilogy and tries to get a one-off with the champion Israel Adesanya and tries to cut the line because he has a belt, even then, that is not a favorable matchup for him. In my opinion, this is probably Colby's worst matchup on paper. A striker who can clearly outstrike him and can stuff all the takedowns, possibly all of his takedowns. Israel Adesanya does really good against that American style wrestling. He has good hips and just good takedown defense, and is long and big. He can just stand straight up. And even if Colby tries to push a pace on him, Izzy has the skill set to just halt that pace and pressure periodically. And then I'm just looking down. You got Marvin Vettori, way too big. He can't hang with Marvin Vettori. Won't be able to take him down, and it'll just be a standing. Colby could compete with Marvin on the feet, but I just think he just gets outworked, just out-muscled, outsized. Marvin could possibly take him down and control him. And then you got Robert Whittaker, completely shuts him out and puts on a masterclass on Colby. I'm sorry. And then you look down, Jared Cannonier sleeps him. Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin isn't even that highly ranked in the division, but if there is a guy that I'm like, Colby, you could possibly beat him, it's Kelvin Gastelum. He could possibly beat Kelvin Gastelum. Darren Till, he takes him down a few times but won't be able to control him. Gets right back up and possibly catches Colby, but that is actually a really competitive fight. I could see that going Colby's way. But yeah, other than that, Kevin Holland, no. All these guys up here in middleweight, I mean, I'm just looking at it. Jack Hermanson submits him. Yeah, all these guys, man, they're just way too big. Paulo Costa probably finishes him early. I mean, it's just not a good, it's not a good look for Colby if he really wants to switch weight classes. But let's go ahead and hop over, because like I said, 185 was never really just a good idea for him anyway, if I'm honest. I just don't think that, I think these guys are way too big, and they're almost kryptonites to Colby's style. I mean, they could just stop that forward pressure. I mean, think of the body shots of Paulo Costa landing to the ribs and stomach of Colby Covington. He's not going to be pushing no crazy pace on that. You know what I mean? But let's move on to the 155-pound division, which I think his chances get a lot more interesting. Now, I'm going to also keep this short, because if Colby were to move, they're going to give him a top 5 opponent immediately, because there's fights and money to be made with Colby Covington. I just saw that the UFC released the pay-per-view buys for UFC 268, and it sold $700K, with all these stars on the card, sure, but you know a lot of that had to do with Colby. So the UFC would not waste any time trying to get Colby to the title because there's money to be made with him. So now we look at it, and I'm going to just go ahead and break down the likely opponents they'd give him. I don't think that they give him a watch Tony Ferguson, but what I can see them giving him is like Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, maybe Charles Oliveira, especially if he loses, Dustin Poirier, especially if he wins, but not right away. But if I'm being honest, I think all those guys I just named are almost kryptonites to Colby's style too. Just think of Islam Makhachev versus Colby Covington. Colby is a good wrestler and he pushes a good pace, and he's probably going to be a bit much for guys like Dustin Poirier, who is very vulnerable to pressure style wrestling and can get tired in fights. He could possibly beat Dustin and get the title, but that's if he makes it to the title. You look at Beneil Dariush, is he really going to take Beneil Dariush down and try to, roll with him? I don't know. He could possibly beat Dariush. Actually, I think he could beat Dariush. I think he could take him down, stay safe. Possibly. That's very, very dangerous, though. But I just look at Islam Makhachev. I just don't see a way he beats Islam. I don't think Colby will be able to stop all his takedowns. I think possibly Islam can take Colby down and hold him there. And Islam arguably has better striking than Colby. I think Islam is his hardest matchup. And then, of course, he's not taking Charles Oliveira down. He's going to be forced to fight with him, to strike with him. But Colby's style, his style of striking, is a lot more favorable to fight Charles than it is to fight, Islam Makhachev, because Charles is not that good when backed up, and Colby pushes a high pace. But whenever I look at guys like Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, who can also stop the takedowns and have the power to crack and put down a dehydrated Colby Covington, I don't see those guys as favorable matchups for him either, especially Michael Chandler, who hits very hard. And that power difference, you thought that power difference with Usman was crazy. Imagine Colby going down 15 pounds and trying to make 155, and the power difference there between him and Michael Chandler. I think Michael Chandler puts him on skates. Same thing with Justin Gaethje. That's just the harsh truth of it. So I think Colby could make a decent run if he can get past those four guys I just named. Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, and Islam Makhachev is his nightmares at that division. But this was a fun video. I want to know what you guys think. Should Colby Covington move weight classes? And if he does, do you guys have different opinions than me? Do you guys think that he could do really well at lightweight in 185? Or do you think welterweight is the best weight class for me? For him. That's what I think, for me at least. So, it's been your boy Trippy, and I'm out, man.